Hello guys, you're welcome to the next video in this series. So in the last video we created this hello world program based on the question we found in let me show you guys this list. I think that's gonna reload. We have to wait for it. Oh, that's terrible. I shoot on my internet, and there we go. Now it's gonna load that. Alright, so in the last video we did the hello world program, which solved the number one question right here. Alright, so in this video we're gonna be taking care of this number two, which you can find right here. Yeah, that was nice. I drew that really nice. So here we have write a program that asks the user for their name and greets them with their name. Very simple. So let's hop over to Java NIDE and we're gonna do that right now. Okay, so the program says we should write a program that asks the user for their name. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is ask the user for their name. Alright, so we're gonna do here, what's your name? So here I'm simply continuing from where we had in the last video, where we used this to print something out to the screen. Okay, so we know that system.out_println prints stuff out to the screen, whatever is inside of the double quotes. So I'm just replacing the hello world with, what's your name, basically. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to get the name from the user. Okay, so we need a way to get the name from the user. So we need a way to tell we can tell the user right now. If I hit the play button, you can see that okay, I think we have an error somewhere. I don't know. Alright, I think I missed the class buddy. Oh, sorry, I missed a curly brace, so I gotta put that back. Alright, so if I run this program, you're gonna find that it's gonna print out what's your name, but you see that the program has stopped. So what we want is for the program to ask the user for their name, get the name from the user, and then we need to print the name out, with a greeting. So how do we do this? The way we can do this is actually pretty simple. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a class called scanner. And as you can see, as I'm typing scanner right here, make sure your scanner starts with capital S, and you can see I got a what is it called here, a hint. Okay, and if I click on it, you're gonna see that it actually completes it for me right here, and you can see at line 3 here it actually imports something here, which is java.util. Receive input from the keyboard from the user, and there's a class that is inside of the java.util package. Okay, this is part of the Java standard libraries, and so you can use them in your program by simply importing this class. Okay, so if Java NID doesn't import it for you, you can just come here and type it in yourself. Alright, just make sure you type it as you find it here, just below the package name declaration, and you should be good to go. So I'm gonna name this input, and that's gonna be equal to, I gotta find the equals there, new, and we're gonna do scanner. Now, as you can see, the constructor actually takes in a lot of parameters. You can find it there's one that takes in the file and a string, input string, blah blah blah. So the scanner can actually receive input from so many different sources. But in this video, we wanted to receive input from the keyboard, so we're gonna need to take an input stream right here. So we're gonna take the input stream parameter. I need to put a semicolon at the end here. Go back into the constructor or the parameter, and I'm gonna pass in system.in. Now, what does system.in mean? If you remember, in the last video we used system.out to print out to the screen. So, and I told you that the out is simply an output stream that allows us to write to the screen. The in is an input stream that allows us to receive input from a standard keyboard or whatever standard device we're using to receive input. So that's exactly what system.in is. It's an input stream that allows us to receive input from the keyboard. So scanner is going to use the system.in input stream to get whatever the user types in the keyboard, and it's going to give it to us. So once we have that ready, the next thing we need is the string. We need a string declaration. I'm going to call that name, and I'm going to just close that with a semicolon. Alright, and then we're going to do name equals input dot next, just like that. There we go. And then we're gonna print system dot out dot print line. There we go. And inside of here we're gonna pass in a quote right here. We're gonna say hello, and then we're gonna put a space just out of the quotes, a plus, another space, and we're gonna pass in name, just like that. Okay, so essentially what is going on here, what I'm doing here is simply I created a new scanner object to allow us to get input from the keyboard. I created a name. The name you can find here is simply what we the name here is a string that allows us to store the name we receive from the scanner inside of the computer. So the string is going to reference whatever we get from the keyboard, and that's exactly what this is. This is a variable declaration, and in subsequent videos I'm gonna be explaining to you guys more about variable and variable declarations, but this is how you declare a variable in Java. Okay, so the type here you can see is string, and this is called the type, and this is called the identifier. So the type is a string, the name is the identifier. Okay, so it's more or less like you're telling the computer, hey, I want you to save some strings or some data inside of the memory, and I'm going to be identifying that data using name. Okay, so if you wanted to save some other variable, you can just use another maybe a string address or whatever. So you can always change the identifiers, and they will point to specific locations in memory that will hold whatever data you put inside of them. I'm going to be explaining more about variable declarations and assignment, but in this video I think the explanation should be good enough. Alright, so that's how you create the name. So the next one, we have name equals input.nextInt. Now this is what gets whatever it is the user has typed. So whenever we type the name, when it prompts us for a name and we type it in and we hit the enter button, it's gonna take the name and it's gonna put it inside of this name variable right here. Okay, so it's gonna allow the name variable to reference. It's gonna store it in memory, and the name variable is gonna reference it. And so lastly, what we do here is simply print it out on the screen. So as you can see here, I said hello, and then there is a plus button after the quotes, and then we got name. So essentially what is going on here is I'm simply concatenating this. This is called string concatenation, or concatenation if you will. So I'm simply saying hello, I'm printing out hello here, and I'm adding, oh that looks terrible, I'm printing out hello here, and I'm adding name to it. So it simply means whatever we get from the user here as the name, I'm prefacing this with hello, and then I'm adding this to the end. Okay, so if our name here was Nate, then we're gonna get hello Nate. So let me show you guys, let's run this and let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So what's your name? I'm gonna put my name, Adebayo, and you get it, hello Adebayo. That's exactly how it works. It looks very simple. Now one more thing I want you guys to note is if I go back and run the program and I say I wanted to enter my name and my surname, just like that, and I hit enter, you can see it only prints out the first name, which is this one right here. It doesn't print out my surname. Why is that? Well, let's go back to the program and check this out. So here where we are doing the input.next, oh nope, that wasn't where I was gonna mark. Here where we were doing input.next, it was only using space as the delimiter. So the space is what so it basically gets all the data before the space. After the spaces, it discards the rest of the data and then it returns it. So if you want to get everything on that line, what you can do is actually very simple. You're gonna change this next function to next line, and you have to make sure the L in your next line is actually in capitals, just like that. All right. Program now. We're gonna see if this works as expected. Um, and you can see that works. All right, works perfectly. Now one more thing before I go. I think you get the hang of all of this. This is actually one of the simple stuff. But don't worry, it'll get harder as we go. So if it looks too simple for you, don't worry. We'll get to the harder parts in subsequent videos. So here I wanted to show you guys actually a way to make your program a little bit, fancier. So you can see here that in our system.out print line, if I run the program again, you can see that when it asks what's your name, it's actually the cursor is actually blinking in the next line. That's because system.out.println actually prints this to the screen and then takes the cursor to the next line. So whatever we're gonna print here now is gonna start from the next line, and I would like for this to actually print on the same line as where this one actually is. So how do we do this? Simple. Program again, and there we go. Just a quick recap, we imported the scanner, remember? And then inside of the main function, we printed out the prompt, what's your name? We created a new scanner, we created a name variable, which is a string. And a string is what we use to identify a combination of multiple characters. And I told you that this is a variable, the string is the variable, this name is the identifier, the string is the type, excuse me, and name is the identifier. Okay, and here I'm simply assigning a value to the name by saying input.next line. We get whatever is here and we give it to the name, and here we print in hello, whatever name we get from the user. And so that'll be the end of this video. I will see you guys in the next one, where we are going to be talking about the exercise 3. Let me check that out. I hate Firefox. It's just alright. So exercise 3, you can see here it says we should modify the previous program so that only the users Alice and Bob are graded with their names. Alright, that's cool. So if you want to know how to do this, just watch the next video, and I'll show you guys how to do this. Alright, so see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.